Hey guys, this is Alrighty Then, and today I've got an exciting project that I'm going to be doing. I have this new Canon 80D with my new cone for the speaker, the microphone, and I'm going to be using this one to shoot my videos from now on, so I'm really excited about that. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to bring a little bit more lighting into my work. So I'm going to be making a ring light out of some things that you can find every day. So I ended up purchasing this lamp fixture from IKEA. It was about $10 in the 50% off section. So this is going to be a ring light that I'm going to use for my camera. I'm going to cut this section out so that the camera fits inside, and all along the inside I'm going to line it with these truck bed lights. I got these at Walmart for about $19. So altogether the project's going to be about 19 plus 10, 30 bucks, plus some little extra stuff. But these little LEDs are really bright. So you can see it's a nice little bright LED, and there's going to be 9 of them altogether. So let me show you something that's really cool. So I'm going to open the package. It's a truck LED, and the actual package comes with 8 LED that are strung together. They're all connected. However, on the package itself, the manufacturer has included an extra LED light so that you can, when you press the red button, you can do a test on it. So what I'm going to do is, instead of just throwing this away, I'm actually going to add it to the 8, so I have 9. So I went ahead and I took my lamp and I divided this circle into 9 separate areas, so each one of these squares is going to get a lamp. So on the inside, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little slit down here, across here, and here, and then that little slit I'm going to bend it forward, and the light is going to stick to it. And I'll be able to make slight adjustments to it. So if I'm going to make a macro shot, I can kind of point the lights inward. If I need a more wide angle, I'll make it wide angle. And the inner, this inner dome will help project the light even more. So I already tried it, and it does a pretty decent job. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start cutting this out here. And I'm going to kind of do some of this stuff off camera because you can kind of get the gist of it. But I'm going to be cutting this with a Dremel tool and a grinding wheel. And I'm also, or with one of those little wheel things, cutting wheel rather. And I'm also going to cut the little slits up here, across, and down to create a flap. And that flap is going to bend forward, and the light is going to stick to it and rest. And so once all that's done, I'm going to make a mount so that I can mount it to my tripod. And I think it's going to be a really cool project, and I can't wait to get started. And here we go. Alright, so this is the extra light that came with the box. I just took it out, and it's got a little switch. It's a little pressure switch. And so the light is going to go stuck inside here with some 3M double-sided tape. And then when you turn it on, then it's going to make a nice bright. You can see how it kind of lights up the inside of the dome already. So it's going to give a lot of light to the subject. It's going to make it really nice. So I can't wait to get started. Alright guys, so I went in the back and I used my Dremel tool with the cutting wheel. This is not the cutting wheel, that's the sanding wheel. And I went ahead and I cut the back of the lamp off to accommodate for the lens. So this is going to come off. That's going to go in just like this, and I'm going to have it just kind of suspended in the middle there, and I'm going to make it mount to the tripod. Thank you for the bless yous. Alright, so the next thing is these are the lights that are already strung up. Again, I'm going to take this extra one and I'm going to splice it into these so I can have 9. Woo. So I'm going to splice them in so I can have 9. That way it'll give me a lot better light. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little toggle switch that will allow me to turn on the lights permanently. I'm going to hook it up to a AC DC adapter that will give me 12 volts. And I'm going to go to Radio Shack to get a rheostat or like a voltage regulator so I can increase the light or decrease the light depending on what I'm doing, okay? So now the next step is to mount the lights inside this dome. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to do it, so stick around. So here you have to cut the lights individually. You have to cut them from the 3M tape. That's one set. And so there's plenty of cord, but I'm going to leave the cord the way it is and just kind of stick them in the holes and wrap them around the back. And just kind of tuck them in and hide them. So here's the other one. I could cut the wires and just kind of splice them back, but I just don't feel like doing all that soldering right now. Alright, so let me undo this. See if I can point this downward a little bit more so you can see what I'm going to do. So here's the dome. Oof, my sneeze attack just stopped. So I'm going to take the cord and I'm going to stick it through the hole, and then I'll kind of stick this to the back of the dome with some tape just to kind of get it out of the way. That way if I ever want to make any modifications, I can without having to sacrifice or you know, take it apart too much. So the other light's going to go here. Then this is going to go here. So you can see that's how it's going to lay down, like that, okay? And then eventually later on, as this video is being made, in the intermissions I'm going to be evening out the cables in the back so that they're all nice and even. So that's what it's going to look like on the inside, with a slight tilt to the light, just a little tilt like this, so that they can shine outwards. Okay? Alright, everybody following me so far? Great. Okay. Here's the other one. Okay, so there's two sets of lights here, and they're both using this connector. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this off, put my own adapter to it, and then I'll be able to string them a little bit better. Okay? So that's what I plan on doing. There's a lot of cord. As my son would say, that's a lot of wire. So that's going to go like this. So that's one of them. So here comes the other set. And don't forget, I will be, I'm going to go ahead and splice these wires together here just to kind of make it one long string instead of having the two separate ones. That is one thing that I will do. That's a mosquito. Don't want no Zika. You know what I mean? Zika, go away. Ain't nobody got time for Zika. Hey, mosquito, did I get it? No. Anyway, that one's gonna go here. This one's gonna go here. So you guys get the picture. It's gonna be really, really bright. These LEDs are awesome. 12 volts. I can use one of those little nickel metal hydride power packs that you use for the remote control cars. You can use a rechargeable one and just kind of stick it to the dome with the power switch. So it could be like a self-powered unit with its own power source. Just make sure it's nice and charged up. I can use any battery cell really, so it's all up to me what I use. But right now we're just kind of working it out so you can see what it's going to look like. And that's the last one. So obviously these cords, I'm going to sneak them out through here and then just splice these two, so all this mess is going to go away. And the last light is going to go right here. So the last light's going to fit right in here like this. So all the lights are lined up, and then when I turn it on, then all the lights will light. And you can see it's going to be super bright, a lot of light. Alright, so let me get to splicing these cables and I'll be back. Alright guys, so I connected all the black cables together and all the white cables together, and I ran it through my little battery pack that came with the device. And this is not going to be the full voltage, but this is just to give you an idea how bright it's going to be. So it's going to be really neat. So it's going to give me a nice even light everywhere. So I can already see it's going to brighten things up quite a bit, and the camera's going to fit right in it, and it's going to be just a spectacular images. Alright? So now I just have to mount them so that they face out just a little bit more. Okay? That's the next step. Alright, so now I'm going to just solder my positive and negative ends together. And then I'm going to be using this little toggle switch that I had. I'm going to use that for my power. And I'm going to use these to connect to that power switch. But for now I'm just going to solder these ends. It's really important when you guys solder that you use flux. It makes it a lot easier. Even if you have rosin core solder, just use the flux anyway. So what I do is I just dip the cable right into it. And that's enough. Just dip it right in to get it nice, and let me tell you, man, it will make the solder just absorb so fast. So on my station I pull out a little bit of wire like so, and I'm gonna tin the tip of the, if I could get to it, just tin the tip of it without burning my mom's thing. And now I'm just gonna touch it to here and watch it just absorb it all, just like that. That's what the flux does. It makes it so that it just goes real nice and easy. So my negative and positive leads are done. And then I'm just going to trim the excess so that I have a nice end on it. Okay. Alright, perfect. Hold on a minute. So on the positive side, I'm going to be putting this red connector, and I'll be putting this blue connector on the negative side. And on the power side, I'm going to be putting these so that there's no way you can cross them. That way you make sure that the blue goes with the blue, the red goes with the red. So this is just a matter of crimping it on. So I have all my positive leads right here. I'm going to put this all the way in as far as it can go. Okay, so it's nice and covered. And with my crimping tool, I will go ahead and do that crimp. There we go, make it nice and strong. Perfect. So now this end is going to go on the positive lead, and then when they connect, they're just going to connect just together. And this way I can disconnect the power and reconnect it to if I need to move things around, or if it's too cumbersome with the batteries or what have you. So again, I'm going to go ahead and put this through here, make sure it's all the way in. There you go. And I'm going to go ahead and crimp that end as well. Alright. So that's nice and secure, it's not going to go anywhere. So now I'm ready for the power. So let's put that aside. And then this is where this thing comes in, okay? Alright, so now I'm just going to hook up those positive leads. So I'm just going to dip it into here again. Just grab a little solder from here. Touch it a little bit, and then just touch right there, and soaks it right up. That flux, man, it works magic. It's awesome, baby. So here comes the other one, and just touch it to it, and bam, there it goes. Ooh, fire, fire, fire. Got plenty fire. So now on the positive lead, the wire with the white stripe, I'm going to put the red connector. Uh-oh, it's not fitting. Let's see if it fits now. I just thinned it out a little bit. No, you know what? So I'm just gonna squeeze it like this. And that's fine, you can do that. There we go. So that goes all the way in on my positive side. And I'm using the leftover cable that I had cut off because it was just way too long. Let's crimp that sucker real good. And same thing with this one now. And that goes in really, really nice. Don't have to do anything to that. Just hold it right there like so. Take the crimpers and crimp. That's very secure. That's not going anywhere. So now, when I connect my battery to this cable, all I'm going to do is take the blue with the blue, boom, like so, and the red with the red, and then there we go. So now I've got my connection, and then now I can take this end, and now I can start preparing it for the toggle switch. So I'm going to leave the cable long just in case if I'm setting it up on the tripod, I can put the toggle switch closer to me so that I can turn on and turn off the light. So now I'm just going to go ahead and prep these two sides. Alright, so with this toggle switch, it's got when the battery is connected, it will let you know that it's on or that it's ready, and then when you flip the switch, that's when it'll turn on the lights. But this little battery pack is already dead, so it's not working right now. So when the battery's connected, the little toggle switch will light, and then it'll momentarily, once you flip it, it'll light the LEDs. Okay? So now I just gotta clean it all up and find a battery. So I'm gonna use one of those little 12-volt rechargeable batteries that they have. I'm gonna go ahead and put some terminals on these so that I can just connect it right to the battery. You know the rechargeable batteries, the 12 volts that come on your UPCs or the APSs, the battery backup units? Any one of those 12-volt batteries will work. Or you can connect this directly to a AC DC adapter that pushes out 12 volt, which I might do that. Alright guys, so what I ended up doing is, notice how the lights are slightly tilted, right? They're slightly tilted up, so they are no longer flat up against here, but they're actually tilted up a little bit. I actually took some of my son's Legos and I the 45-degree pieces, and I stuck them underneath just to kind of give it that little elevation. So they are, the cable is just holding it together. I haven't put any tape, but that's all that's holding it. So there's nothing fixed, and I didn't peel the back off the stickers. So I can always reposition these if I want. What I was thinking about doing was put a hinge on each light and be able to maybe turn the light in or out depending on how much coverage I needed. But for now, this will work. They're at about 20-degree angle, so that'll give me enough coverage. So now I just have to find a 12-volt battery to give it a test. Alright guys, so I still have to figure out my power source here. But this is the light, and when I give it power, that's what it's going to look like. See that? It's going to give me a nice ring of light. The camera's going to go right through it, and that's how I'm going to do my videos. So I'm going to see how I can get the power source going and put it on toggle switch, because the toggle switch that I have is no good. So I think I'll have to continue this tomorrow, but there will be more. Alright guys, this is day 2 of the build, and I ended up getting everything I needed. So remember, this is the ring light I'm going to be using with my Canon 80D. I got this new little funky onboard mic that connects to the camera that's going to be feeding the power, and you can kind of raise and lower this thing depending on what you need. But the reason I got this bracket is because this is going to go in here like this, and so the microphone can go above and sit so that it can hear everything that's being recorded. So right now what I'm going to do is I have to get the power supply all figured out. Alright, so I bought this battery. It's a rechargeable battery that you have on like alarm systems and things like that. So it's 12 volts, and these terminals plug right into it. So this will allow me to go mobile. So if I need to go out on the field and take some shots outside, I can just take my battery with me, make sure it's nice and plugged in, and I will have power. And for the house, I ended up getting one of these little trickle chargers that I will connect right to the light, and that'll be my 12 volts for the light. And that'll be enough while I'm inside the house. So this is what it looks like now with the 12 volts. See how much brighter it is right now when I turn it on me? See? It's a lot of light. That's a lot of light, Papa. See that? It's gonna be real nice. So that's my thing. So what I did now is I ended up buying this little switch, Home Depot or Lowe's, I think it was Lowe's, and I'm going to connect that to my cables, and that'll be my on and off switch. I also bought a fuse holder that I'm going to be putting into the line of the system, so that way I don't blow out the LEDs. Even though I don't think I will, it's just better to be safe. So this is one of those little fuse holders. I'm just going to put like a 15 amp fuse on there. And that should cover me. It's a 12 amp battery, so maybe I should put a 7.5 amp. That way if there's a surge, I'll be protected. So I'm going to put this in line, put my switch, and then we'll test it all out. So give me 1 second. Alright, so I decided to go with this speaker cable because it's going to be a little bit thicker than the wire that I had before, just because it's just better to work with, and it'll last longer probably. So I went ahead and I crimped this heat shrinking connector to the fuse. That's going to go to my positive lead, and I'm just going to make this shrink right now. Come on. It's supposed to shrink. There it goes. Come on. Let's go. Shrink, shrink, shrink. It just makes it a little bit more watertight. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put one of my little fuses in there. Oh, where are they? Donde están? Come out, little fuse. But we won't worry about the fuse for now, because I can always bypass it. Yeah, it's alright. Probably in the box somewhere. So that's going to be that. On this end, I'm going to put one of these connectors here because that's what's going to connect to the battery. Let me just put some solder on the end of that just to make it look nice. So again, it's always important to use your flux. Always use your flux when you're soldering. It just makes the solder just go right into it real nice. Just sucks it up, man. The wicking action, it's called capillary action. It just goes right in it. And so that's going to go in here all the way. And then I'm just going to crimp it real good. And on this one, I'm going to put another connector. There we go. This is so tight that I'm afraid that if I put any solder on it, it won't fit in here. So you know what, I'm just going to crimp it just like that. No big deal. That's not going anywhere. So this is going to the battery, and I'm going to make it long enough where I can maneuver the camera around if I have to. And then I'm going to put my on and off switch right in the middle. So I'm going to take the positive cable and make that my on and off switch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this cable down the middle. Being very careful not to mess up the insulation, just kind of cut the middle. And the way this switch works is that the negative piece of the cable is going to fit through here. Okay? The positive is going to go up to the middle, so I'm just going to have to cut that little section off. And then the switch is going to go right on top of it. And these little connectors right here is what's going to engage the wire and make the connection. So you don't even need to strip anything, just cut the wire to the right size. So I'm going to cut it here, and I'm going to cut it right there. So just by putting it like this, I gotta cut a little bit more of that one. There we go. So everything is in there. And now this is gonna go and just go right on top of it and snap in. And as you press, the wire will make contact, and then that's it. So I have a little nut that I have to put back here, and with my little trusty micro screwdriver, I'm gonna put that in. Okay, so we should have power now. So I'm gonna take my battery, taking the battery. That goes to the positive. This goes to the negative. And I need to get a fuse for this thing. Pause. Alright guys, so I'm using this special bypass fuse here. It's really special. It's one of these. Alright? It's one of these special bypass fuses because I can't find my little fuse. But the switch, remember I put the switch together and I went ahead and made the connections to the light. So now when you flip the switch, it turns on the light. Just like that. Okay? So now I'm going to mount it to the camera hood, and then we'll finalize the project. Alright guys, I found a fuse. So I'm just going to put a little 5 amp fuse on there. So let's test it out with the 5 amp fuse just to make sure it works. So this goes into the negative. And the fuse is there just in case something were to go wrong, like you get a power surge. It doesn't fry all my electronics. So this is a 12 amp max battery, but if you're not pushing 12 amps on it, it's okay. And if you're not pulling it. So here I turn on the lights and the fuse is just fine. That's gonna work, and if I ever get a surge of power, the fuse will blow before it messes up any of my LED lights or my switch or anything like that. It'll just cut off the power. Alright? So that works. Now let's work on the mounting. Alright guys, here's the final product. That's the light, the ring light. And what I did for the mount is that I took some of the electric wire, the speaker wire, and I ran it along the edge of the aluminum with some wire ties, and it just fits snug against the lens cap. So this is all it is. I could just untwist it, take it off, and there I have it. So this is going to be, that's the camera, and this just fits right over it, no problem. If I need to remove it, I can take it off real quick just by untwisting it. And so I'll be able to use this ring light for my portraits, for my macro shots, micro shots, all that stuff with my 100 lens and different things. And I can just take it on and off without the hood and adapt it as I go along. And it's not heavy at all. I think it weighs less than a pound, this whole thing, so it's not putting too much stress on the camera. Anyway guys, this was alrighty then. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you guys until the next one. Bye.